Well, when you look at agenda harmonies, what I recommend to pastor search teams is that they look and research and determine 5 to 10 agenda harmony items in their church that they know if the pastor were to come out and be on the totally opposite side of a particular issue or something in the church, that the church has historically been on one particular side or another, then it would almost instantaneously create havoc. It'd create disharmony without any doubt. So here's the thought. Let's take, for instance, the issue of divorce. Okay. Let's say that the church has a position, a stance historically, that men who serve as deacons could have been divorced. They could have been divorced and remarried, and the church is pretty much okay with that. Well, when they're interviewing potential pastors, if they don't really dialogue about that, if they don't really talk through those issues about the divorce situation and deacons, kind of what they feel, then what ends up happening is it comes back around the fall of the year, whenever they may look at ordaining new deacons or adding deacons to their existing current deacon body. And what ends up happening is the pastor comes and talks to the chairman of deacons or whatever, and he says, well, we need to look at, ordaining some people, and several people have mentioned this person and this person and this person. And the church, not thinking there's any kind of an issue or any kind of a problem, say, well, yeah, I think we ought to talk to them and work our way through that those would be good individuals, and maybe 2 of the 3 could be, elected or ordained. And so the pastor starts moving through that process with the approved process for the church to make this happen. Well, in the midst of that, the pastor says, when they discover that one of these men has been divorced, or, it could go even beyond that. It could be married to a spouse who had been divorced and remarried. There's a lot of different variables that could include divorce, obviously. And so now the pastor says, now, whoa, wait a minute. I don't believe theologically. I don't believe the Bible allows for that. And the deacon can't be remarried. He can't have been divorced. He can't, whatever his position is at that point. Well, now all of a sudden, without any question mark, we have this contentious situation where now the pastor is saying, hey, look, as the pastoral leader, I'm leading the congregation. I have a responsibility over this congregation to shepherd them well. And this is what I'm teaching from Scripture. And now the church, who historically has done that, looks around and says, well, I don't know what the problem is. Well, now you do have a problem, and tensions rise. And then maybe you look around, and this new pastor or potential pastor, if he's already come by now, he looks around, and several of the guys who are already serving say, well, do you realize I'm divorced and remarried? And do you realize, and maybe 1 or 2 of them have. Come to find out, the church has not had a problem with this for a long time. And now you have a very contentious situation where the pastor is wanting to hold to one particular position. And for him, he feels like that's going to be a theological compromise. And that's going to be a real turnoff, obviously, going to be a huge problem. And on the other side, you look at it and see that the congregation is looking at it and saying, no, we're not doing that, because we've always felt like this is okay. There's not a problem with this. And so that's a huge deal all of a sudden.